All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the invisible forces that shape our lives, the things that guide so much of what we do every single day, usually without us even noticing. Yep, we are talking about habits. Now, look at this number, 40%. That is huge. According to researchers, that's the percentage of our daily actions that are not conscious, deliberate decisions. They're habits. Think about that. Almost half of your day is running on pure autopilot, which of course leads to a pretty big question, right? If you're not actively choosing to do almost half the stuff you do, then who or what is really calling the shots? This is where things get really fascinating. It turns out our brains are just incredibly smart and kind of lazy. To save mental energy for the big stuff, they take common sequences of actions, like brushing your teeth or backing the car out of the driveway, and they bundle them together. This process is called chunking, and it's basically the brain's ultimate life hack for efficiency. So if our brains are running on this hidden code, how in the world do we crack it? Well, it turns out that every single habit, the good, the bad, all of them, they all follow the exact same simple pattern. And here it is. It's called the habit loop. It's a really simple three-step process. First up, you've got the cue. That's the trigger, the thing that tells your brain, okay, time to go into automatic mode. Second is the routine. That's the habit itself, the thing you actually do. And finally, the reward. That's the little hit of pleasure that tells your brain, hey, that was good. Let's remember this loop for next time. Cue, routine, reward. So simple, but man, is it powerful.
But wait, there's a secret ingredient here that really makes the whole thing spin, and that is craving. See, it's not just about getting the reward at the end. It's the intense anticipation of that reward. That feeling, that's what locks the habit into place. It's the real engine driving this whole machine.
Okay, so if these habits are so powerful and automatic, are we just stuck with them forever? Absolutely not. Turns out there's a kind of beautiful, elegant rule for changing pretty much any habit you want. So here's the deal. Most of us, when we try to change a bad habit, we try to fight it head on. We use brute force to resist the craving. But that's a losing battle. It just burns through all your willpower, and let's be honest, it almost never works long term. The golden rule is way smarter. It doesn't fight the loop. It hijacks it. You keep the same cue, you get the same reward, but you swap out the routine in the middle. This quote from Charles Duhigg's work just nails it. You can't just erase a bad habit. It's not like deleting a file. Instead, you have to replace it. You find a new, better routine that gives you a similar reward, and you just slot it right into that old framework of cue and reward that your brain already knows and loves.
Now let's level up. It turns out that not all habits are created equal. Some habits are way more powerful than others. In fact, there's a special kind that can create this massive, positive ripple effect through your entire life. These are what we call keystone habits. And seriously, think of it like a domino rally. A keystone habit is that first domino you flick that starts a chain reaction, knocking over a whole bunch of other bad habits and setting up new good ones. It is a total game changer. So what do these look like? Well, a classic one is daily exercise. People who start exercising often just naturally start eating better and being more productive. Or keeping a food journal. It makes you so much more mindful of everything you eat. And yeah, even something as simple as making your bed every morning can cascade into a more organized and productive day. It's wild. It even works for big companies. When one company, Alcoa, focused on the keystone habit of worker safety, everything else, profits, efficiency, just skyrocket. So why are they so powerful? It's because they create what we call small wins. And these little victories do more than just build momentum. They actually prove to your brain that, hey, change is possible. It rewires your belief in yourself. You start to believe you're the kind of person who can change, and that makes everything else so much easier. So what this all really means is that we're not just victims of our habits. We can actually be their architects. And like any good architect, all we really need is a solid blueprint to work from. And here's that blueprint. It's a super practical 4-step plan. Step 1, identify the routine. What's the habit you want to change? That's the easy part. Step 2, experiment with rewards. You got to figure out what you're really craving. Is it the cookie or is it the break from work? Step 3, isolate the cue. What's the trigger? And finally, step 4, have a plan. Once you know all that, you can design your new routine ahead of time. Now, that third step, isolating the cue, can be a little tricky, but here's how you do it.
Time to be a detective. The next time you feel the urge for that habit, just stop and ask yourself these 5 questions. 1. Where am I? 2. What time is it? 3. What's my emotional state right now? 4. Who else is around me? And 5. What did I just finish doing? If you write down the answers a few times, a pattern will pop right out. Your trigger will have nowhere left to hide. You know, in the end, just understanding this stuff is incredibly freeing. It changes habits from being something that just happens to you to something you can actually design and control. The power is completely back in your hands.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to really think about. If you look at your own life, what is that one small change, that one keystone habit that if you started it today could spark a chain reaction and change absolutely everything?